identifying the hurt. So we're just going to be listening well, but we're listening to more than just the words, right? So we're listening for what is the essence of the problem? What's the core of the issue here? Where is the energy stuck? What's the recorded message that's playing over again and again and again? You're trying to identify that. What's the belief that they got from the hurt that they had? So if somebody, for example, got hit whenever they made a mistake, what's the belief they might have from that experience?
When I make a mistake, it hurts.
Yeah.
It's dangerous to make mistakes. And what's the pattern they might develop in their actions?
Indecisiveness. They can't make decisions.
Yeah.
Right.
Always
Perfectionist.
Always needing to do it right. They're terrified to do it wrong. So they might develop a lot of tension and control issues. So you can see how that one experience builds into this whole personality complex. So you want to try to get down to what is it? What was going on that created the belief and the pattern? I want to identify it, examine it. It's really kind of a scientific examination. And you could almost think of it as all right, this person is in a straitjacket or they're in a little cage, and we want to examine the cage. How is the cage made? What are the bars made of, the little beliefs? Some people don't have a lot of openings in their cage. You have to really look hard for one that can wiggle. They're just really solid. But you're looking for a way in to jiggle the pattern. And once you start jiggling it, the whole thing will start vibrating and jiggling and falling apart. That's kind of the way I think of it. As you're listening to them, you can say things like paraphrasing, okay, I think I hear you saying this, or this is what I'm seeing. And then they'll kind of correct you and add to it, and they'll help you identify it. You can kind of go, well, are you feeling like this? And this is what I see. So there's this process at the beginning of a session where you're doing that together, trying to identifying it. And going to the root is part of that. When did you feel like this before? You're trying to get down to the core of the issue. It's really helpful to know some of the hurts that happen to that kind of person, to the groups that they're in. So if you're counseling with a woman, to know some of the typical patterns that women have, some of the typical patterns men have, or a person of a certain color, or a person of a certain religion. There's certain patterns, because of the way society treats them, they get a certain angle on the distress. For example, men get trained that they're only worthy in relation to what they do and how productive they are and how they can impress people. So they get a lot of patterns about having to do things and having to do things right. So what's the counteraction to that? What's the opposite of that? What kind of message?
It's okay to fail. It's a learning process. That's what helps make you great.
Yeah, you're fine if you fail.
Is that who you are, not what you do?
Yeah.
That makes you enough.
It's okay to relax and do nothing. Would be perfect, right? Women get a lot of patterns in this society about you're only valuable in terms of how much you're serving other people and how you look, right? So you always have to be sacrificing and putting other people first, and you have to be very beautiful, according to how society thinks you should be. What's the opposite of that?
You get to be your own person.
Yeah.
And take care of yourself.
You get to take care of yourself first.
Mhm.
That's a great one for women.
You don't have to look any certain way at all. You can let it all hang out right here.
Right?
Yeah.
Beautiful just the way you are. You're important. Right? All of those things are great things that go against typical women's patterns. Yeah, so there's a whole study of oppression theory where you can look into those patterns that are related to the groups that your client is in. And if you're working with some long term, then it's good to do that, to know a little bit more about their groups.